Hello there. Could it be that the ploys and ruses of the Remainers in the House of Lords could end up being the very cause of something they say they wish to avoid, namely a no-deal Brexit? Now, wouldn't it be a hoot if all the effort certain members of the House of Lords put into laying legal bear traps in their amendments to the EU Withdrawal Bill just led to a no-deal exit from the EU, to a proper full withdrawal of the UK from the EU, the full FWUKEU? Talking on Chopper's Brexit broadcast, the Housing Minister, Dominic Raab, warned that the Remainer Lords engaged in this rearguard exercise of amending Brexit legislation are just increasing the likelihood of a no-deal Brexit. The House of Lords is increasing the risk of no deal. I am a passionate Brexiteer, but I have always argued that we should secure the best deal that we can with our European friends and partners. I think the peers are making that harder and are making no deal more likely, he said. Now that would be a salutary lesson on the laws of unintended consequence, wouldn't it? Now let's take a look at Italy. FX Street is reporting that a coalition government in Italy might just be formed at this 11th hour. The Five Star Movement and Lega parties may now have overcome their differences, but they would together move forward with plans that require money that Italy just does not have at the moment. Unless, that is, they completely ignore the Eurozone fiscal pact, as, in actual fact, Italy needs to reduce spending to comply with it. According to FX Street, a government consisting of Five Star and Lega would well adopt a confrontational attitude towards Brussels, as both parties operate according to the motto, Italy first. Fierce conflicts with Brussels may arise, especially regarding the regulations on the public budget and compliance with the fiscal pact. I see a nice little headache for the EU Commission and the European Central Bank developing here. Or maybe the first small tear with a giant rip developing in due course. Now to space. Again. The UK space industry is pushing for the creation of a national space programme in its latest report, Prosperity from Space, to focus on 4 specific areas: Earth Information Services, Connectivity Services, in-space robotics, and low-cost access to space. All sounds good, as the document talks about building on an already very successful UK space business, investing in people, encouraging the study of STEM subjects, as well as its great growth potential and routes to increasing exports, etc. There are also some impressive figures involved. Space sector productivity is nearly 3 times the national average. Year-on-year growth has been 5 times greater than the wider economy since 1999. The space sector has tripled in value since the turn of the millennium, and 36.4% of turnover is generated by exports. But for me it falls flat when it also talks about deepening involvement in the European Space Agency and the European Organisation for Meteorological Satellites. But no mention of NASA, for example. The report appears to me to be totally EU-centric, and therefore flawed. It seems that even our forward-thinking space programme leaders can't think outside of that little EU box. Or is this just another way of quietly keeping the UK from getting too far away from the EU apron strings? And isn't it strange timing that, according to Politico, a door is opening to make it easier for the UK to stay tied to an EU army? Belgium, Luxembourg and the Netherlands have put forward the idea that the EU's military pact should be open to non-member states. So the UK, as a third country, could take a role in EU military initiatives as well as the EU Rapid Reaction Force. The first question I have is, Don't those 3 countries trust NATO or their other remaining EU member states to help them look after them? After all, they are neatly sandwiched between Germany and France, aren't they? And the second question is, how can we be trusted with all that responsibility if we can't be trusted with the Galileo data? Now to EU referendum funding. The Brexit campaign group leave.eu, co-founded by Aaron Banks and Richard Tice, has been fined £70,000 by the Electoral Commission for failure to properly report expenses of at least £77,380. And leave.eu's chief executive Liz Bilney has been referred to the police for what the Electoral Commission calls serious offences. Aaron Banks has responded in his normal forthright manner and told the Commission he will see them in court. Mr Banks said that the Electoral Commission has been politically motivated in this, as many of its members are openly anti-Brexit, and that their investigation was all about trying to find the smoking guns of Cambridge Analytica and dark Russian money stamped all over leave.eu. But on finding nothing of the sort, decided to push forward with fines against what Banks claims is a technical accounting matter. Talking on the BBC Two Daily Politics show today, he said that leave.eu had submitted a 20-page report from an independent accountant in response to the initial claims, but, he says, it must have been ignored as they just issued the original draft report anyway a mere 3 days later. Effectively, what they have done is, they started off their investigation with a remit of investigating Cambridge Analytica and dark Russian money. They have found no evidence of any of those things, and they have fined us on a technical accounting issue which is heavily in dispute, said Aaron Banks. Anyway, before the Remoniacs start talking about the need for another referendum over this, I'd just like to remind them that the Lib Dems, Britain Stronger in Europe, now rebranded as Open Britain, and European Movement UK were also fined for breaches of EU referendum rules last year, as was UKIP. And the Remain camp did have a £9 million advantage over Leave in the form of a government leaflet sent to every house, and Leave still won. So we don't need another referendum, we just need our politicians and civil servants to carry out the will of the people in full. The full withdrawal of the UK from the EU, better known as FWUKEU. So please, let us all know what you think by leaving a comment below, but please also don't forget to share this video across Facebook, Twitter and by email using the tools under the video. Thank you for watching. Please do like and share this video, and also subscribe to my channel. And when subscribing, please do remember to press on the little bell next to the subscribe button. That way you'll get an alert every single time I put up a new video. Thank you very much for watching.